Hello and welcome to the second part from the first e-learning module from MyThesis Academy. Now you already have an idea about what a thesis is and about the different kind of thesis, the bachelor thesis, the master thesis and the PhD thesis, and also about their differences and similarities. Now in the second part, I would like to share some information and some ideas about the skills and the abilities that you will develop when you write a thesis. Maybe you already thought about the qualifications that you will gain, and I would like to give you an impression about what you really learn and what is useful for lifetime, the skills and the abilities that you develop when you write your thesis. So let's have a look at this together. So as you see, in this second part of the first class, I like to provide you with an overview of the skills and abilities, and also mention some good reasons if you are still thinking about, well, should I write a thesis? Because it's so, it's a lot of work and it's so, many time and energy that I will spend on the thesis. But I can tell you there are really some good reasons why you should write one. And then last but not least, before we get over to the third part, to the preparation of the thesis, I like to provide you with a list of 10 things that I wish I would have known before starting my thesis. Some advice and some tips that will be very helpful for you in over all the time of thesis writing. But first, let us start with the skills and ability for lifetime. So, as you see, as I also mentioned in one of my videos, thesis writing is not just a process, and it's not just academic task, but it is really a kind of journey with various challenges and also benefits that you will learn along the way. So now in this part, you will get to know the challenges, but also the benefits that will serve for lifetime and for your job, for your career, also for life in general, for the time management, for example, and you will really see why it is worth the pain to write a thesis. So first, there are two big areas that you may already know. If you write a thesis, then without any doubt, you finish your studies, and later you will also have increasing job possibilities, opportunities, and access to higher positions that also depend on this qualification. And but as I said, it's not just the professional side of life, but you also gain experiences and develop skills that will help you for the personal life, and experiences that will be helpful for lifetime. So the first part, as you know, is the qualification for higher job positions. So with the last step, with the thesis, you will finish a degree. Maybe you finish the studies, or if you write the bachelor or the master thesis, then they are like the entrance card, the gateway to the next academic level of your studies. After this, it's important to have this qualification of your thesis for increasing opportunities in your career, and also as a kind of access, or sometimes it's demanded from a company that you can show your qualification to have possibility for a higher ranking position. So yeah, it provides you with a higher value in the job market, and also it goes along with that a better salary. Then what is also important is the self-reliance and the independence that you get from a thesis, because well, it's really a long-term work that you will face basically on your own, and you have some some tasks that you have to manage, and some challenges that you have to overcome and face on your own. So this also provides you with a kind of independence. And then last but not least, you can train skills of interaction and of communication. Yeah, what is the point? How can you train these skills? First, you have to develop questions. This is also something, well, we will have a look at this together, but you will learn how to develop questions on your own. You will also learn how to structure some work like that, and you will also have to develop your skills of critical thinking. Another point is that you train arguments. So if you imagine that one time in your job you have to argue, you have to defend a position or whatever, then you also train it with your thesis. And you will have to learn to state an opinion at a specific point of view. So these are things that without any doubt you will train and refine. If you already have these skills, then you will develop and refine it with your thesis. Then there are some additional points, like something that is connected with independent work. It's that you learn to work with your responsibility. If you imagine that you were at the studies and you had to write some term paper, or you had to fulfill some tasks, then these tasks were mostly directly connected to a certain class, but it was a kind of short-term work. So if you had to hand it in, then maybe there passed some weeks or whatever. But with the thesis and with some months or even years of work and of conducted work on your own from various areas, so from reading and investigating the literature, and also with the conduction of an own research, and also the analysis and evaluation. So you will see that there is another kind of responsibility that you have. Another point is that you learn to work on your self-management and on the structure and organization. For example, you have to master to fulfill official requirements such as formal guidelines given by your university, and also the deadlines that you have to beat, for example. And you are the person who has to keep an overview, to know exactly the time when you have to submit, when you have to complete a milestone, whatever. Also the documents that you have to provide. So this is also something that is very helpful, because in any situation of your life, you will have some moments where you have projects with certain deadlines, and you have to know what you have to provide. And yeah, that's why it's very important that you learn this and develop the skill. Then, hand in hand with this goes the ability of smart scheduling and the development of a personal recipe of how to beat the deadlines. Because time calculation and organization is also something crucial that you need for a lifetime. Also in your personal life, in the professional life, if you work in a company or on your own, on a project, whatever, you will have to deal with deadlines, and you have to know how to organize yourself. Then, last but not least, there is also a competence that you gain, which is the academic writing and research. Sure, if you start to write a thesis, then you have already some experience, but as I said, it's the same with the term papers and the classes. You experienced all this process, but you really have to refine it, and you will refine it when you write your thesis. So, what you will learn and what you will work out in a specific way in terms of academic writing and research is that you will know how to construct a toolkit from all the available tools that you have for your research. Then you also will learn how to work correctly and also in an effective form with the literature. You will amplify the abilities of academic writing. You will learn self-conducted research, for example, if you do a field work. And, well, you will also work on the evaluation of sources and how to manage them. Further, you will train the independent problem solution. So imagine you are somewhere out in the field and some problem comes up. Then you have to know how to deal with this on your own, and not just in the time of your thesis writing, but also later if you will work as a researcher. And then last but not least, you also will get deeper knowledge, fundamental knowledge and detailed understanding of your discipline. This is available for the bachelor and the master thesis, but in particular also for the Ph.D. thesis. So now we will get to a part that is one of my favorite. 10 things that I wish I would have known before starting my thesis. Why is this so important? Because there are really some things, some details that you can, how can I say, that will make your thesis life easier. If you really pay attention on these details and these aspects before you start to write a thesis, I assure you that it will save precious time, and you will also feel better within the thesis writing process. So let's have a look at it. First, very important, find a favorite working place for you. Why? It is very important that you have a place which is comfortable, where you feel good and where you feel kind of inspired and attracted to work on your thesis. If you work at home, it's completely fine, but it's also possible that after time you feel kind of locked up. So I would give you the advice that you choose a place or even maybe two places to vary. If you are tired of one and you want to get to another because it's kind of freshening up. So this is important that you really find a place that is good for you, where you feel inspired to work, and that you can separate the working time and this place to work from the rest of your time and your free time that you really have to get to relax and to charge your batteries. Then another important point is that you have to develop and define a routine. Why is this so important? Well, it has to do with the question of separation of free time from working time. Because if you mix it up, if you don't have a routine, but you make it kind of freestyle, then imagine you will never have the feeling that you are really in your free time, but it will be always a mix. So in some moment you will feel kind of tired and you will lose the patience and the motivation to work on your thesis. So this is very important to stay focused, that you develop and really structure your daily routine. For that, you need to create a timetable. Maybe it sounds a little bit like at school, but I can really assure you it helps. So make a plan. We will also discuss this later, like how do you do this and what is important to consider it. But I just can give you the tip and the advice that you add your firm appointments to this schedule. Even if the appointments are meetings, or also, well, it can be meetings from work, also firm appointments or firm times where you do a certain hobby. For example, if you have a dancing class, or if you want to go to play an instrument at the orchestra, whatever. So these are things that can really structure your day, and the other time is reserved for your thesis. And this, well, also the breaks. If you want, you can also put the breaks, like a lunch break and for dinner and whatever. So another thing that you should consider it, if you create your timetable, then try to concentrate the writing time in blocks. Don't do yourself the favor and if you sit down to write, then try to have at least 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. But if you are rushing between one meeting and the next appointment and you have only 15 or 20 minutes left, I assure you that this is not really worth the pain, because the moment that you sit down and write something, you are already at time to leave for the other appointment. So do yourself this favor and have a careful look on your appointments and on your thesis writing time. So to get ahead, there are also 3 things that you should consider if you are already in the writing process. First, try to don't see your thesis as the whole thing, but start to think in small steps and set weekly or monthly realistic goals. This is also very important. Don't come up with the imagination of doing everything at the same time, but do it in small steps. Know your deadlines, your intermediate goals, and then just focus on that step, on the next step, on the next goal, whatever. And what lies behind this goal, this is not important for the moment. It's just the next step to get ahead. Also, well, something that is important is that you see the university as a kind of caring partner. What does it mean? The university is the institution, or also the faculty, your department, which provides the guidelines and sets the condition, the framework for your submission. So if you have the documents, the guidelines, then have a careful look on these guidelines, on the frame, and do this in advance, not just on the last day. What do I mean? For example, if you have the guidelines for the references or for the formatting and all that stuff, how you should deal with certain things, then I'm sure that your university will provide these guidelines for you. And for example, if you use a reference system that differs from the guidelines from your university, then you will struggle at the end, at the moment of correction and proofreading. So here, once again, do yourself the favor and have a look on the frame that is provided from your university, from your department, whatever, before you start, or at least at the start. And some very crucial thing is also a good network that you have to have when you write your thesis. Why? The thesis writing can be lonely sometimes. So you have to sit over the desk on your own, writing, researching, whatever. If you're going on fieldwork, so okay, this will be a little bit different. You will get in touch with the people. You will have some interviews, realize some interviews or whatever. But at the end, the moment of the academic writing, of the evaluation, of the analysis, even of the edition and the proofreading, these are tasks that you will do basically on your own. Also the literature review. So here, what can help you, or what will help you, is the constant dialogue and exchange with fellow students, with other academics, with friends, whatever. Important is that you stay connected and that you socialize, to don't end up in a kind of isolation, feeling lonely. This is very important, and this is something that you have to consider before you start your thesis, because at the moment you will need this network. And well, now we are going over to the last 4 points. Something which goes hand in hand with the university as your caring partner is the 7th point. Decide early on a system to manage your sources and references. Why? Because what I already mentioned, this saves you precious time. If you are doing some kind of unstructured referencing, or if you use another system than the one that is required by your university, then you will have trouble and confusion at the end, because you have to adjust everything. So do yourself the favor and have this clear from the beginning. Decide on a system, or if your university demands a specific system, then use this system. Some other point is to don't fear the blank page. What I can advise you is that you write a lot and that you start to write as early as you can. What does it mean? Sure that you won't get the perfect sentence down on the paper from the start, but it is another feeling if you have some drafts, some list of bullet points, some excerpts, whatever, transcriptions also. The important is that you are not sitting over the blank page, but that you have a kind of skeleton, or at least some points, some writings that you can refine. And the earlier you start to write, the better you will feel. Then there are 2 points left. First, that you should develop strategies for the moment where you feel stuck. This is a point that goes kind of hand in hand with the question of sitting over the blank page. So what I would do, or a strategy that I developed for myself, is first to write a lot. That is what I explained, like whatever it is, drafts, brainstormings, bullet points, transcriptions, material. And another thing is that you may learn to see writing as a craft, not something that also depends to the moment and to the inspiration at the moment, but really on some rituals that you can develop for yourself that help you to get inspired and also to motivate yourself, to fresh up your mind, and gives you the possibility to concentrate, to focus. These rituals can be can be everything. Like for me, I like to go running. I like to do sports and also to play music with my violin. So these are things that are like freshening up my mind. And when I come back to the desk, then I feel inspired. I feel motivated. It's also possible that you set a certain time frame, for example, or that you have a ritual in the morning, that you have breakfast, and then you have a fresh energy. And then at a certain hour that you will define, you can sit down and you start. And this is also something that works, or the concentration of the time and blocks. If you know, okay, now I will have my writing time from 8 to 12. And then there's a lunch break that I will spend together with my friends, for example. So find out what is good for you, what inspires and what helps you to structure yourself. Last but not least, there is the point of the expectation that you have on your supervisor. This is also a crucial point, because you should know in advance what you can and what you can't expect from your supervisor. Without any doubt, your supervisor will help you, will guide you in a certain way, but I can just give you the tip that you don't expect too much from him, because he has also other students. He is also occupied with projects, with universities, with classes, whatever. So use the time that you have with him in a very conscious way, and try to know in advance what you can expect. So this was our second part from the module. Now we will go over to the third and last part, the preparation of your thesis. Like, how do you start with the preparation? See you there.